cry. Same thing makes you laugh, makes you cry. Welcome to Monkey Time. My name's Todd, or just call me Monkey. That's Carol in the back. Carol. Hey, she says hello. Hey, Carol, one of the guys, the guy that runs, you know, the Reverie coffee shop? Oh, let me tighten up my lips. There we go, much better. The Reverie coffee shop on Hillsborough Street? The guy watches the show, really nice guy, and he wants to see you sometime. He says, show us Carol. And I had somebody come in the store, I don't know, a couple months ago, said he thought you were fictional, that I was making you up, that I'm actually just here by myself. I mean, sometimes I am, but I don't yell out. I would never lie to you like that, monkeys. Never. I would never lie to you. Lots and lots of good links about Syria on the Twitter page, but we're going to talk about Syria later. Don't let me talk for more than 10 minutes without Syria, Carol. Oh, I'm out of practice with these lips. There we go. Okay, deep breath. Okay, much better. Yeah. This election, there's going to be like 2 people voting, Carol, me and you. So you better vote for who I say, or else it's going to be a stalemate. Monkeys, you can break the stalemate. Carol's going to vote against me. So yes, October 8th, you can vote in an election. Mayor Nancy McFarland's up for re-election. I don't even know who she's running against. Russ Stevenson, one of the at-large city council seats, he's up. Who else? Oh, well, there's lots. The school bond, there's a school bond. They need that for, you know, because you're stupid if you don't vote for it. It's true, Carol. It's true. It's really true. It's just going to cost more. We need the construction. It's just going to cost more if we say, no, let's not do a bond now. It's just going to cost more. End of story. No one's disputing that. So anyway, vote for the school bond, you know, and we'll talk more about the election as it comes up. So the Miley Cyrus thing, Carol. Listen. Can we put up it's number 10. So here's the thing. Everybody's complaining about Miley Cyrus's slutty, weird, drug-induced, crazy, you know, I'm going to outdo Lady Gaga show, which is all that was, Carol. That's all that was. She's like, I'm going to outdo Lady Gaga. So she did. Very good. But here's the thing. If you go to the black blogosphere, have you ever been, Carol, to the African-American blogosphere? It's very different. No, it's really not. It's more the same, but they talk about things from a different perspective. It's really good. I didn't get a chance to put up links before the show, but I will tonight. So if you go to my Twitter page, they'll be up. There's a lot of really thoughtful black bloggers talking about the minstrel show element of what was going on there. And these black women's bodies, right? Slapping the butt, doing whatever, motorboating. We won't even talk about the motorboating. Right, Carol? No, we can't. Can we? Can I even conjure up the image that everybody's seen of the motorboating right now? Think about what was happening there. Smacking that black lady on the butt. It's classic appropriation of black culture and exploitation of black women's bodies. They weren't just as objects. Objects, right? Anyway, there's some really thoughtful stuff. And of course, Carol, it has to be seen in the fact that there were no black winners at the VMA. That's what I've been told. I didn't watch. You know? So you see this like upstart little, this horrifying spectacle. This horrifying little girl. And Carol, it's really sad. It's just sad to watch somebody like just fall apart like that. Anyway, I don't care that she was, you know, sexy, half naked and all that. No, it's just the whole thing. The whole spectacle is just disgustingly, embarrassing. But here's the thing. It was racist as hell. The whole concept. I don't know. You can agree or disagree. The phone number's right there, but you know, that's the key. And it's taken. It takes getting out of the normal white bloggers that you read to realize the perspective that this is really horrible. Just from that whole, you know, white people appropriating black culture. Now, Carol, this is complex because Macklemore won. And they do that great pro-gay song. Yeah. They're not gay, right? Or is one of them gay? The lead singer's not gay. He's very clear on that. But I like the white rappers. I like the black rappers. I like the Hispanic rappers. I was listening to rap before half of you were born. But a lot of the folks there, or a lot of the black bloggers are going after Macklemore. And they've been pretty clear that if they were black, they wouldn't have gotten as far as they got. I think they've been pretty clear on that. They say that. So I think they're the wrong target here. Okay, next subject. Not just because they're pro-gay, but I really think that's an unfair attack, the attack on Macklemore. Okay, so the homeless. Few more questions about this homeless thing. Saturday morning, church groups that feed the homeless for free in Moore Square were threatened with arrest. Couple questions, okay? Here's the questions. Was the Downtown Raleigh Alliance involved? I suspect, I say yes. That's my guess. That the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, a collection of downtown businesses, it's all very, we don't want the homeless around, is very, very involved in this. That's my guess.
What's the chain of them to the mayor to the city council?
What's the chain of them to mayor to the city council? The Downtown Raleigh Alliance is a private organization. It's an organization that collects dues from businesses and that in the downtown area, and then lobbies the city and works with the city to try to make things better for downtown. They've done some good stuff, but this has Downtown Raleigh Alliance, written all over it. We just don't want the homeless collecting downtown in Moore Square, and the church groups have said that the Downtown Raleigh Alliance has been part of these conversations. So the question now becomes, and the church groups have been talking to the city for weeks and weeks, but suddenly, someone decided that this Saturday morning, and apparently they didn't warn them, Carol. They just showed up, let them prepare the food, let them bring the food, let them put all that effort in, bring the food. Somebody in the city administration decided, you can't do this anymore, and we're going to arrest you if you do. Didn't have the courtesy to tell them in advance, because they knew that it would cause a stink. They'd go to the press. So, the second remaining question, aside from one, is does the Downtown Raleigh Alliance have anything to do with this? My answer is almost certainly, and they should be embarrassed. Two, which particular person in city staff, in the city departments, again, this is not city council, this is not the mayor. Mayor McFarland said very quickly, and she responded great, Carol, right away. She responded on Facebook right away, the next day. This is unacceptable. Well, not only that, but because Food Not Bombs said, we're doing it. Love that. Food Not Bombs came out that day and said, oh, really? You're going to arrest us for giving free food to the homeless? We're setting up Sunday at 4 p.m. That's what Food Not Bombs did. Yep. And then Nancy McFarland started getting all these complaints. The city council members started getting all these complaints, and Nancy McFarland said, no one's getting arrested. This had nothing to do with the city, nothing to do with the elected city officials.
So who sent the cops down?
So who sent, question two, who specifically, and what department head, who was it who said this, who made that decision? And again, Carol, you know what? I'm going to take the monkey puppet off. Okay. Okay. It's just too much work. But here's the thing. This fits into the larger question that we've talked about on the show. Oh, see what happens when you don't stop doing yoga? Carpal monkey syndrome. I like that, Carol. So the larger issue that's been going on over the past month or so in Raleigh is, remember we talked with Perry Woods a couple weeks ago about the N&O complaining that Russ Stevenson was putting pressure on an elected city official was putting pressure on city staffers to speed up and help along this developer who was not trying to push through a project, but trying to get the information they need to apply to get their project approved, right? And the N&O got all outraged at how the city, elected officials, the city council members, should not be going to city staff. And then we've got something like this, which is a classic case where city staff had their heads up their ass. Somebody in the city administrative offices made a horrible decision unilaterally on their own right? That this needed to stop. Almost all the city council says, we want it to continue. Let's keep working together to make it happen. There was a 3-hour meeting today, just down the street, just half a block away from here, where everybody met, and it was filled to capacity with people upset. Now, who are these unelected city staffers who make these decisions? Well, you can argue that's the city council. We have a half-time city council. They get paid almost nothing for the amount of time that they put in. Half-time mayor. We don't have a full-time city council and full-time mayor in Raleigh. I think that probably needs to change at some point. And so these city staffers have tremendous power, and you've got the N&O saying, how dare you elected officials tell the city staffers how to do their job? It's micromanaging, they said. This is a classic counterexample for the N&O. Do you see my point, Carol? All right, everybody sees my point? Remember, city council and the mayor are who we need to be pressuring so that they can tell the city staff how to behave in a way that fits what the majority of the people in Raleigh want. We want to know, I want to know, who made the decision in the city staff, and has that person been reprimanded so that they don't make these kind of unilateral decisions without checking in with their bosses, the city council, again. I think that's a fair question number 2. Question number 3. God, there's so many questions about this. Was it true that even when the church groups on Saturday moved to a private lot, or maybe it was Sunday morning, that the police again told them that they had to stop serving food, even though they had permission from the private lot owner? That was an accusation I heard. So who made that decision? All right, we'll leave the homeless thing aside because it looks like justice is going to prevail and they're going to work together along with Wake County, because this isn't just a city of Raleigh problem. But I really got to admire Mayor McFarland for this. Nancy McFarland, she came right out and she said, Raleigh is a progressive city and this is not how Raleigh behaves. Well, that's great. Now somebody tell the city staff in Raleigh. Now, I have tremendous respect for city staff. I know some of them. Some of them have been guests on the show. They do a lot of hard work. They're good people. The city planning folks, a lot of them, I won't say all of them, are really, really just smart, open-hearted, good, kind people looking out for the city in the best possible way while the rest of us go about our lives not thinking about it and hoping that eventually Raleigh becomes better and not worse. They're the people doing the actual grunt work. I totally respect that. But there are also people in city staff who are intransigent, who are stubborn, who do nothing but roadblock because it's their own personal little fiefdom, and then also occasionally maybe just make an honest mistake. Like, I know, let's arrest some church groups today for giving free food. Yeah, maybe that was just an honest mistake, but or maybe that person's a complete jerk. I don't know, but we should know who this person is, and we should know what's been told to this person. That's what I would like to see, an interview with that person. Instead, city staffers get to hide behind this veil of they're unaccountable to voters, city staffers, especially longtime city staffers. I think that needs to change. We need more accountability so that the city staffers, like the idiot who made this decision, or the group of idiots, are now held up and transparently held accountable to the rest of us. I think that's fair. And that's the least we should expect. And anybody like the N&O editorial board, wringing their hands about how this is a micromanaging for the citizens to actually have their representatives tell the city staffers to stop being idiots, then I think they need to just step aside and go focus on some other issue to be wrong about. Okay, quickly, number 8, Carol. Those 2 kids, Diaz and McKillop, is that his name? I think so. The 24-year-olds that McCrory hired, who were, one of them did a little internship stint or a year at the American Enterprise Institute, one of these right-wing think tanks. And if it was a left-wing think tank, I wouldn't think he was qualified for the Department of Health and Human Services job either. And then the other one, who was like his main political aide. Anyway, these are 2 political pals of McCrory who are 24 years old, who got these cushy jobs at the Department of Health and Human Services. The AP ran a story that I think it was today, that I linked on my Twitter page. Carol, can we put that up? Where it points out that these 2 guys, McCrory said, this is key, McCrory said these two guys beat out older applicants for these jobs. Right? Remember that? We were being ageist, Carol, because they looked at the data and these two guys were the best job. They beat out all these older people at the job, right? Well, the Associated Press ran a story today that Progressive Pulse linked, North Carolina Policy Watch's blog linked. There's no evidence that this position was advertised anywhere. And there's no evidence that anybody else was interviewed for the job. And anytime the Associated Press or anybody else asked McCrory or asked these two kids about how they got these $85,000 a year cushy jobs, then they shut up. But McCrory said, it's yet another lie, McCrory said they beat out other applicants, older applicants. They were better qualified. And the Associated Press, and then I'm done with this, Carol, for this week, and the Associated Press article, which you can find on my Twitter page, in my feed down a little bit, and the Associated Press points out that neither of these guys have the basic educational or administrative qualifications that are required for entry-level positions underneath their heading, their job description. Entry level, and they're at the top. It's classic corruption, classic giving, and if they were black and it was a Democrat, Carol, they'd be the right wing would be screaming about how this was reverse racism, right? Right? How this would be like, this is an example of affirmative action. Why isn't it affirmative action when it's rich white people getting the goods, right? This is a classic case of affirmative action, just like George Bush getting into Yale, George W. Bush getting into Yale because his father went to Yale. That's affirmative action, monkeys. Sorry. All right, so next, I guess we got to talk. Oh, did you hear about the bus situation, Carol? The school buses are still screwing up. And even especially in Apex, where they were the worst last year, they're also still screwing up this year. You'd think they would have gotten that right. So Tony Tata is laughing into his cornflakes this morning or today. But don't believe the hype about the accidents. Did you hear there were a bunch of accidents this week involving school buses? There were about 5 or 6 in 2 days. But I know you got it, no one was hurt, so you can laugh. But it's funny because it's going to be used against the school board, right? How could they do that? But it turns out, according to the article I read online today, and Jim Segru, I think is how you pronounce his name, he's the spokesperson for the police, he said 5 of them were not the bus driver's fault. There were cars running into the bus. In one case, it was 2 cars getting into an accident and a piece of one of the cars hitting the bus. Come on, Carol, you're going to blame the school board for that? You can't blame the school board for that. So anyway, just watch out when people start talking about all these accidents. So far, it looks like they were all accidents. There was one bus driver who had an accident where it looks like it was the bus driver's fault, right? Didn't see a car coming. That's pretty serious. No one was hurt. Well, 2 kids, their parents took them to the hospital anyway. They said they had neck trouble. You never know. Could be true. Then anyway, just watch out for that. That's going to be used. But so far, it looks like the vast majority of the accidents were other people, and I think it's probably because people are not used to school buses on the road. It's been summer. I don't know. You know how it goes. All right. Can we talk about? Let me take a deep breath on this one. Yeah. It's happening again, Carol. There's so many things wrong with a U.S. bombing strike on Syria. Okay, first of all, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. Once again, this time it's Obama. The United States is going around the United Nations and unilaterally taking on this role of we are going to be the bombing police. There are 3 separate tacks I'm going to take here. I think it's illegal what they're doing. I think that Obama to say, first, there are long-standing constitutional debates about the War Powers Act in the United States. Can the president bomb without, declaring war, right? And the legal consensus seems to be, well, the president can do some military things as the executive branch without declaring war, which would require Congress. But you know what? It still violates international law. It still violates international law if we don't have the UN Security Council. Russia can veto permanently. They have close ties to Syria. They've been arming Assad, right? Fine. We have to work diplomatically to bring them around. And if we can't bring Russia around diplomatically to let us bomb your friend, and one of the things that's happening behind the scenes is Saudi Arabia is talking to Russia about doing an oil deal to allow the bombing. But first, let's be clear here. There's no rush. The only rush is a political rush on the Obama administration's on their side. They said they drew a red line and they want to be seen as strong and firm. So if it was a chemical weapons attack, then we must bomb. No. That's not what the red line was. That's not what that meant. And we don't want you to bomb Obama, right? I don't. It's stupid. But let's leave that aside for now. First off, there's no rush. Let the UN go in there. There were snipers there, but it's not clear who the snipers were. It's not even clear who did the chemical weapon strike. You've got multiple factions. The rebels, there were many secular rebels against Assad. There's also Al-Qaeda militias that are against Assad. We have no idea. And then within Assad's government, there are separate military factions and separate groups of people. And one of the ways we heard, the US says anyway, we're sure that this happened, is they intercepted communications from Assad's government, frantic communications to a military base or a military outpost where they think that the chemical weapons might have come from. So what if it was a mistake? What if it was a rogue person there? What if it was one military commander deciding to do that, getting fed up? What if it was an Al-Qaeda militia who did this? We just don't know at this point. It's not clear who did the strike, right? It's not clear. So who are we going to bomb? Well, if you read the New York Times article that showed up today, we're not going to bomb chemical weapons factories and chemical weapons stockpile places. We're not going to bomb those. You can't. It would spread chemical weapons through the air, hit a lot more people. So we're not going to bomb that. What are we going to bomb then? Well, we're going to bomb human headquarters. Military outposts or central military posts where there are lots of humans, including secretaries, including other groups of people, right? We're going to bomb the Syrian equivalent of, military bases and military headquarters and, the Pentagon and places like that. This is a horrible idea. This doesn't achieve anything. The White House, simultaneously, while rattling its saber saying bombing is almost certain, also says out of the other side of its mouth, we're not interested in regime change. So they're doing this kind of showy attack that will create chaos on the ground. For what? For what? For political points, so Obama can look tough. Mr. Nobel Peace Prize, it should be remembered, can look tough. We don't even know what happened there. Assad said, okay, it took a couple of days, but he said, get the UN over there, right? We're going to let them in. Snipers started firing at them. What was that about? We don't know. Okay, then arm a UN group and get in there and protect them and let them do their tests. Okay, I would be okay with that. Right? That seems like a good use of force. Get UN troops in there to do chemical weapons tests on the site. But the other thing that just cracks me up is a week before, and by cracks up I mean like makes me cry. A week before, you probably didn't see the video of the apartment complex strike a week before the chemical weapons strike. And I have no doubt that, I believe that it seems likely. It seems likely anyway that chemical weapons were used. That's not even an issue here. But we need the proof before we bomb. But a week before, there was this massive bombing of an apartment complex in a rebel town. Massive bombing. The video was horrifying. I didn't link to it on Twitter because it was just too horrifying. But a buddy of mine up in Toronto link to it, and I forced myself to watch it. It's like 6 minutes of the most horrifying aftermath of mounds of rubble, like 20-foot high mounds of rubble that used to be floors of an apartment, right? Huge clearing of just bombs. This is what we're going to do, right? Babies dead on the sidewalk, people moaning, people helping each other, limping, just dead bodies everywhere, blood that are just people that are just stains of blood on the ground now. You know, just a horrifying 6 minutes. I forced myself to watch the whole damn thing. And that wasn't over the line for Obama. What's our long-term strategy here? What's our plan? Doing the same thing that we did in Libya? Do you know what happened after the Libyan intervention? The bombing, the disruption and the chaos? Al-Qaeda is thriving in North Africa now. How much time, Carol?
1 minute.
Al-Qaeda is thriving. Militias the weapons have spread from Libya all over North Africa now. Bombing, U.S. bombing, doesn't do a damn lick of good in the long run. We should know this after Afghanistan. We should know this after Iraq. We should know this after Libya. It's stupid, and we don't have a long-term plan. The long-term plan is diplomacy. That's the only long-term plan. There is no military solution here. You bring Saudi Arabia, Russia, Syria, Iraq, Israel, U.S. to the table, and you talk and talk and talk and talk.
15 seconds.
No civilians die. Not by U.S. bombs.